Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Zach with Clash of Comics, coming to you with a Jujutsu Kaisen video today. I don't want to talk too much, but I do want to say this is based on my inferences. I researched a lot for this video, so I hope you guys like it. But I'm gonna kind of speed run through the arc that is Star Plasma Vessel, just because most of what I want to focus on is Geto and Gojo's relationship as opposed to the arc itself. So I won't go too much into Gojo versus Toji or anything, even though everyone knows that's one of the best fights in shonen manga. So go ahead and peep that. That's chapters 65 through I think 78. So if you want to read that in the manga, go ahead and read it there. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Jujutsu Kaisen is a dark, lonely world filled with loss and heartbreak, where you fight an endless war where a person must suppress their emotions or they may lose an advantage in a fight that may be for their life. Through it all, characters still form meaningful relationships throughout the series. We see this with Megumi Itadori Nobara's relationship, and of course Todo and Yuji's relationship. Jujutsu Kaisen as a series sets out to ask the question, what is a meaningful death? And in asking that, the question invokes another. The question, what makes a meaningful life as a shaman? In a world filled with darkness caused by negative human emotion, and those that can harness that energy to either make the world a better place or raze it to the ground. While there are many relationships in Jujutsu Kaisen today, I'm going to focus on two characters in particular, and one arc in particular, and that's going to be the Star Plasma Vessel arc, and it's going to be between Gojo and Suguru Geto. Special grade shaman, two of the strongest people in the Jujutsu Kaisen verse we've seen so far. This relationship formed through a clash of ideals and a mutual respect formed between them with the acknowledgement of the other's strength. Geto and Gojo are introduced during the Gojo flashback in chapter 65, showing us a younger version of both the characters, with Geto not having the stitches on his forehead like we see in the current timeline on Kenjaku. They are both second year students at Jujutsu High. In one of their first interactions, we see a mistake where a curtain was not placed by Gojo, so non-sorcerers could see an explosion while they were fighting. Gojo and Geto here share a conversation regarding how they feel about non-sorcerers. Gojo asking the question on whether it matters if they see them since they can't see neither cursed spirits or Jujutsu. Geto calmly replies, the containment of cursed spirits is of the utmost importance for citizens' peace of mind. Gojo then after interrupting him says, it's such a pain looking out for the weak. Geto replying, society should protect the weak and keep the strong in check. You see Satoru, Jujutsu exists to protect non-Jujutsu sorcerers. These two sentences here show how vastly different their views are when it comes to what they do as shamans. It reminds me of something we got in Shibuya from Kenjaku and Mahito's conversation. Chapter 91, Geto says, you theorize that the soul came before the body, but the body is the soul and the soul the body. Otherwise, this phenomenon, or the fact that the host body's memories are retained, can't be explained. Mahito replies, does it have to be the same for everyone? Considering our curse techniques, you and I practically lived in different worlds. This small interaction shows how a difference in power can shape your view of the world and the people within it. When you apply this idea to Geto and Gojo, you get Geto who, through consuming curses, has to experience that pain. He understands the true essence of a curse in a way that many would not understand. It's a taste that nobody knows, the taste of a curse, like ingesting a rag used to wipe up vomit. Exercise, consume. He then uses those curses later in almost like a vicious cycle that only he has to experience. Geto believing that innocent people should not be subjected to the wrath of a curse, as he has through his curse technique and his responsibility as a Jujutsu sorcerer. With Gojo, you get a more godlike look at non-sorcerer. Gojo as a character is confident, egotistical, and never seems to worry about anything really, as he believes himself to be strong enough to take on any obstacle in his path, due to his inheritance of two powerful curse techniques. While when he is first introduced, he's not in the prime of his power yet, he still exudes the same self-confidence and arrogant personality found in older Gojo, brought on by his belief in being the strongest. That being said, the gap between him and others is very, very wide. This conversation almost escalates to a fight, until they are stopped by Yaga, and they are given a mission to protect and transport the Star Plasma Vessel. A young woman named Riko is set to merge with another immortal sorcerer named Tengen. Tengen is important because he provides a lot of protection to the people at Jujutsu High and the Jujutsu world in general. Throughout the flashback, Geto and Gojo have a very close relationship, played up by small gags and mutual respect in battle. The beach scene highlighted this a lot, as Gojo has been using his limitless technique for multiple days non-stop. At this stage in his growth, he doesn't have the reverse technique to be able to replenish himself like we see in Prime Gojo. Geto checking on him, asking if he needs a break, and Gojo going so far as to agree to an extra day with Rico, but then saying he's fine, replying, "Besides, you're here." Showing the mutual respect they have for one another that goes beyond just being partners on a mission. Gege even reinforces this in chapter 72, where Geto brings up the fact to Rico that Gojo and him decided if the vessel refuses they will call it off. In this flashback, it shows them discussing this possibility, and Geto brings up the idea that they might have to fight Master Tengen. Gojo replies in only a way he can, saying, "You scared? Don't worry, we should be fine. We're the strongest." This being a development in Gojo's outlook, as before he stated he found it a pain to protect the weak. This directly is brought on by his relationship with Geto and his compassion for humanity. This change in Gojo's outlook was important to his character and built a massive change in the Jujutsu world going forward. After this fight, Gojo fully masters his curse techniques, giving Gojo the means to be the arrogant but benevolent god he is portrayed to be on the current timeline, due to his full understanding of cursed energy. After this, the mission fails, and the Star Plasma Vessel is killed during the confrontation with Toji. Geto and Gojo are faced with the choice to either kill the religious group who set up the vessel to be assassinated by Toji, or leave them alive. Geto chooses to leave them alive, as they will probably disband and they aren't a threat as they are all non-sorcerers, saying it's pointless. This causes Gojo to ask him if there needs to be a reason. Geto responds with, "Of course, it's important, especially a Jujutsu sorcerer." This is the one event that would have Geto fall into the darkness and change his view in the complete opposite direction, all due indirectly to Gojo. 1 year later, Gojo, since realizing his full potential, now goes on most of the missions alone. This isolates Geto, causing him to as well go on his missions alone. Him going through a constant cycle of exercise and consume, he starts to ask himself, for whom? Remembering the evil that was the followers of that religion, willing to kill an innocent woman for their religious dream to be realized. Even the Jujutsu world itself, willing to sacrifice an innocent girl to protect themselves. Disillusioned with the Jujutsu world and its teachings, he starts to resent humans, going so far as to dehumanize them. Shortly after, he has a meeting with Yuki, a special grade sorcerer who is also disillusioned with Jujutsu High and does not take any missions as a result. In this conversation, she tells Geto the 2 ways to get rid of curses. One of them being have everyone learn how to use Jujutsu, and have everyone be pretty much a Jujutsu sorcerer, because Jujutsu sorcerers put off very minimal amounts of cursed energy. Geto then asks why not kill every non-Jujutsu sorcerer, and Yuki tells him that it is a possibility, a way of forced evolution, but she's not crazy enough to do so. After Geto voluntarily divulges that he doesn't have the same compassion for non-sorcerers that he once had, she tells him that these ideas he has recently are just possibilities he's thought of, and however he truly feels is still up to him to decide. After this, a young Jujutsu sorcerer who is a classmate with a young Nanami at the time is killed on a mission. Geto tells Nanami it is alright because Gojo is taking care of it. Nanami asks him why not let him take care of everything from now on. This small scene shows more of Geto's comrades dying at the hands of curses, all due to the duty forced on them due to the weakness of non-sorcerers, at least in Geto's eyes. This is such a small scene, but when added gives so much weight to Geto and how he's feeling in the moment. It may not show in his face, but we understand that it does affect him tremendously. These feelings of resentment come to a head when he goes on a mission to eradicate a curse that has been causing kidnappings and abnormal deaths within a village. He does, only to find that they have blamed these incidents on 2 young sorcerers who they've captured and put in a cage. Geto then tells the girls to go outside and he slaughters the whole village, murdering 112 people in the process. This makes him a fugitive and to be executed on sight. After being branded as a fugitive and ordered to be executed, Geto first appears in Shinjuku, walking up to Shoko while she has her smoke break. She immediately, after confirming that he really did it, calls Gojo. Gojo, being there almost immediately, tells him to explain himself, calling him by his first name, Suguru. What Shoko says is true, and Gojo points out that Geto was the one that said non-sorcerer killing is pointless. Geto says that there is a point and a meaning to it. It's justice. Gojo then says it's impossible and pointless to kill all those people, and to kill all non-sorcerers. It's impossible. Geto replies by calling him arrogant, saying he could do it, so he's presenting the idea as if it's impossible when it's really not. Asking him the question, are you the strongest because you are Satoru Gojo, or are you Satoru Gojo because you are the strongest? This question could have a lot of meanings, but what Geto is asking Gojo is if he is strong because of who he is and the strength Gojo has as an individual, or is he strong because of the name and the gifts he's been given? Supporting the idea that if the latter is indeed the case, then if Geto is in his shoes, he could do this, as his strength is not because of who Gojo is, but who Gojo is due to his strength. He tells Gojo this is the life he's chosen, and now he's going to give it all he's got, telling him that if he wants to kill him, there's meaning in that as well. Gojo chooses not to. This confrontation has a lasting impact on Gojo, and in a conversation with Yaga, Gojo asks him if he's strong, to which Yaga says of course. Gojo then comes to the realization that being strong isn't enough, he can only save those who are prepared to be saved. Simultaneously, Geto takes over the Star Religious Group, and it's a good cover for his operations as he can collect money as well as cursed spirits. He has adopted the 2 young girls he found on the mission that changed him, taking the group by force, even killing someone as an example, calling them showing that he rules them with an iron fist. These 2 characters drastically changed and contracted each other in the beginning, and through a friendship came to understand each other and slowly changed their views over time. Geto being the one that showed Gojo how important life is outside his own, and Gojo through his strength showing Geto that there was a way to eliminate curses from the world, if only you were willing to take the next step. These characters' progression and understanding of each other almost create a sort of yin and yang, even portrayed in their looks and personality. Gojo being a godlike figure whose benevolence was born out of an indifference that grew to an understanding of another person's value in life, while Geto a twisted individual whose hatred grew not from curses but from non-sorcerers, who he believed it was his duty to protect, and a realization that with the right power could enforce humans to evolve, creating a better world, personified in his best friend Gojo. The evolution of these 2 characters would go on to form the next generation of the Jujutsu sorcerer. Megumi and Yuji parallel a lot of the things that we see in Geto and Gojo, with everything from their personality and looks all the way down to a similar ideology that Yuji and Geto both shared. Gojo being the one to train his new generation, does his best to help his students and keep them on the right path, unlike he was able to do for his best friend. Believing that this generation will surpass the previous and possibly make the world a better place, just like Geto wanted, but without the death and destruction, bringing a far greater meaning to the question of what it is to have a meaningful life as a shaman.